ourselves here again. Today is October 24th. The way things are. Be content with what you have. Rejoice in the way things are. When you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you. Yes, it does. Lao Tzu. Beyond what we need to survive, to better ourselves, has come to mean having as much as one can store, and, as such, has turned into an addiction in our modern world. Such a want to have things comes from a sense of scarcity and anxiety that something is missing, which owning will somehow soothe. But to better ourselves inwardly is another matter. The closer to the heart we take this, the more we find ourselves trying to inhabit what we have carried since the beginning. This want comes from a sense of abundance. This want comes from a sense of abundance, a yearning to unlock the mystery of what is already there. This difference became stark for me while struggling with cancer. For while I prayed for things to be better, my prayers were answered when I awoke one morning, content to be who I am, no matter what was happening. Though things were not as I wanted, there was truly nothing lacking, and I vowed, as the nurses started their morning rounds, that I would trade places with no one, spirits with all. Aww, that's nice. I like that. I would trade places with no one, but I would be willing to trade my spirit with all. I like it. So back in April, a few weeks in to the COVID shutdown, I really began to spiral. Like, it was bad. I was in a bad place, as I know a lot of people were. And I got to the point where I could not see what the point of even being alive was anymore. Not that I wanted to commit suicide. I didn't really want to be dead. I just was feeling like, oh my gosh, this is everything I've ever read about, in Revelations, and it is happening now, and I have all these children to care for, and how are they going to make their way through the world? And how are we going to have money and get food and, all the things you think about when you have children to care for, or people who rely on you. All 3 of my jobs had shut down. Fortunately, my husband was still able to work, so that was good. But it was overwhelming. And of course, then I'm hearing the voices, I'm reading the book and I'm hearing these voices saying, you need to read this to people. And I just couldn't. I was like that deep in my caca energy that I couldn't. So I didn't. And there were days when I could barely function. Thank goodness my children are old enough to cook and, take care of themselves. Because the best I could do was drag myself out on the porch, and we were living out where the place I work is. We were living out there in one of the other little bungalows, and we had a screened-in porch. And I would drag my carcass out there, and I would stare at the animals. There's cows that are on the ranch, but they're taken care of. But it was the birds and the bees and the bugs and the caterpillars and the ants. And I just had to stare at them and realize they wake up every day, and they don't do anything different. They figure out how to make it through the day. And even some of those days are cold and freezing, and they still figure out how to make it through the day. There's no conveniences for them outside of my garden, which the grasshoppers loved. And I couldn't even bear to take the grasshoppers off of my little garden plants because they were just trying to make a living. And I didn't want to impede them. So I was willing to sacrifice my plants to the grasshoppers so that they could feed themselves and maybe feed their babies. But there are days like that where you just it's overwhelming and it's too much, and you just need something to hold on to. And for me, that was grasshoppers and squirrels and little birds. So I hope you find something to hold on to if you are ever feeling that low and just that crappy. But gosh, my kids are loud. Anyways, mindful moment. Center yourself and feel the reality of your life this morning. Let your breath take you, for the moment, beneath your dreams of betterment. As you exhale, feel the soreness around all you want. As you inhale, feel the mystery at the center where nothing is lacking. Sometimes that's a little hard to do, but I think it's in those times that it's the hardest is the time when it's the most necessary. I love you, and I hope you have an extraordinary day of knowing that all you need is available to you right in this moment.
If you don't want these, Zach wants to know if you want the rest of these.
No, I don't want that. Hey,
He won't give me
don't kick her. Share them.